What's up, everyone? Zach here, and welcome to Taste Talk, where today I'll be going over my top 32 Charlotte regional report. I played Zoroark counters, and usually I go through the deck, but I went through it last week, where I topped a cup with it. So if you want the deck list and all the thorough explanation, you can go check that out. I'll leave a link in the description below, but I'll pop up my deck list right here. The only changes I made was I cut the E hammer for a fighting energy, so you can get the watch and learn off a lot easier and kind of unexpected. And I also cut the Giratina promo for Oranguru, the resource management, so that was pretty clutch. I ended up facing 2 mills on day 1 and no Greninja any of the days, so I'll get right on into it. So round 1, played against Brad Gustas, playing Duskmane Magnezone. Funny story about that, actually. We sat down and he's like, oh, we haven't turned in our deck list yet, so he's like, do I want to play the fun deck or the good deck? And I'm like, I can't make that decision for you, because, you know, I'd be a little biased if I said the fun deck, but, so he's like, oh, I'll play the fun deck, and I guess pulls out Duskmane Magnezone, and that matchup's pretty easy for Zoroark counters. They'll hit you big, and then you just go, Sudowoodo counter energy, and slap them, and then round 2, same thing, Duskmane Magnezone, or Duskmane Necrozma Magnezone, and it was a pretty straightforward match. He almost took game 2, but he took out a Koko going down to 1 prize, which he probably shouldn't have, and that let me swing with Cobalion for the knockout. I had like Rescue Stretcher, Floatstone, and all that fun shenanigans, so took that one down too. So started off 2-0, feeling really good about the deck. It's run really well. And then round 3, played against James Miller, playing Lycanroc Zoroark. And that's a matchup we were testing a bunch, and it seemed to be pretty Lycanroc favored. But then he started Mew EX 2 games, game 2 and 3. And I was able to take the early knockout on that and kind of snowball that into a win. So I really got fortunate there. Really close series, and started off 3-0 now at this point. And then round 4, played against James Colwell, playing Vikabulu, and that was another really close series. He took the first game, he kind of just Bulu went off and steamrolled me, and then game 2 I was able to watch and learn my way to victory, and same thing with game 3, ended like just going into time, so it was very close. And then round 5, played against Greg. No, I am not even gonna pronounce the last name. Minkle. I'm sorry for that one, but but he was playing attacking Hoopa, which I was like, oh, I got the Oranguru. He flips over Hoopa, and I'm like, how am I gonna deal with this? Because I opened I had Bridget in hand with and I'm like, ooh, I'm not sure. I thought it could have been a Sylveon, it could have been just a Hoopa stall. And I'm like, okay, I got the Oranguru, let's just play this slow, see what he has going for me. And I think get another Zoro down and pass it over to him, and he attaches elixirs and knocks out my Zoro. And I'm like, oh, attacking Hoopa, I think we can deal with that. And I responded with a watch and learn. And so the first couple turns we were both like, okay, that's what they're playing. So it was ended up coming down to it. Game 1, I played my second set of puzzles, or I had 3 puzzles in deck, and I played it, and I'm like, I can grab my Rescue Stretcher just in case I need the Oranguru, but I'm like, I think I can just finish it in these next 2 turns. So I don't grab the Oranguru back, and he ends up being able to mill something, and my 4th elixir, oh no, that's what it was. I knew I had 1 puzzle prized, and I took the next 2 prizes, and it was my last prize, and I whiffed the puzzle, so ended up losing that game. Really long, 35-minute game, and then game 2, he started off really slow, and I ended up flying flip Kukui, and then puzzled for the Kukui to flying flip for the knockout, so moved on to game 3. Game 3, it went back and forth, and time was called, and it was still no clear winner at that point, so took our tie and moved on. So I'm at 4-0-1 at this point, so I'm trying to get that magic 7 win number. And then round 6, played against Ricky Martinez, playing Bulu, so another Bulu. And this time I got lucky. I started off drawing really bad game one, and then he goes to he Skylas, and then he hesitates, and I'm like, weird. And he ends up grabbing an Ultra Ball and throwing away a candy and something else with it, and grabbing Octillery instead of the Vikavolt. And I'm like, oh, he must have Vikavolt in hand or something. Plays Octillery, Abyssal Hands, and passes. And I'm like, that might be really good for me. And I end up taking the knockout, and then he's like, yeah, I'll just go on to the next game, flips over his prizes, and all 3 Vikavolts are prized. So that was pretty fortunate for me for that game. And then game 2, turn 1, he goes, oh, that's cool, Kukui, pass. And doesn't even get a grubbing down, and I kind of snowballed the game from there. He ends up getting, I think, a Vikavolt out, but it was too late. So just a couple Bulu draws, some Bulu hands. And, yep, so at that point, 501. And then going into round 7, played against Jose Marrero. He was playing Zork, Savali, Duskmane, Necrozma. Really cool. It was kind of like... It was weird. It was like Zork, Savali deck with like a Duskmane or 2 to kind of power up. And game 1 was really interesting. I start, and I'm like... I think I puzzle and pass, and that's like all I had, and... Or no, he starts, he bridgets, and then I puzzle and pass, and he's like, N. He only had 2 N's in hand, so it was either he could not got set up while I was drawing out of it, but there was nothing in my puzzle at all. But it was one of those situations you have to set up even if it's at the expense of ending your opponent, so he ends, and he must have ended into straight trash, because then passes over to me, and I start flying flipping him, and he, like, draws and passes, essentially. And I end up flying flipping him, like, 5 or 6 times. It was insane. And then end up just being able to snowball the game there. And then game 2, it was another like close game. We started going back. There was at one point he hit my Coco, because I'm just trying to flying flip setups and numbers. It sets up Riotous Beating really well. And so I flying flip, and he comes up with a Savali and takes knockout, putting us both at 4 prizes. So he thinks he's safe, and I have a counter energy on my Sudowoodo. I promote with my Sudowoodo, I draw, and I have Mallow with like Zork set up. So I Mallow to go get my fighting energy. I'm looking through my deck, find my fighting energy, put it down, and as soon as I put it down, he kind of looks at me and goes, you play a fighting energy, don't you? I'm just like, trade, fighting energy, watch and learn, knockout, and going down to the 2 prizes, and I already flying flip, so I got like a Guzman, Lele for the last 2 prizes. So... another 2-0, and then at this point I'm 6-0-1, so I know if I can manage another 2 ties, but hopefully I can get a win to put me into a better position for day 2. And I get down paired to Justin Kulas, playing Zoropod, and this was a match I was expecting to see like 18 times going into the day, so I was pretty confident. Game 1, he ends up being able to take the game. I think I just couldn't set up, and he takes game 1. And then he was also playing like 3 Acerola and like a max potion too, so he had pretty heavy healing. And then game 2, it was really close, and it actually came down to he armor pressed to knock out my Sudowoodo, and I draw. I think it was like I rescue stretchered my Sudowoodo, attached counter energy to it, and was able to Guzma armor press, knock out a Zork with a choice band to go down to 2 prizes. So I think we're both at 2 prizes, and then he comes back up and he armor presses me again, goes to take the prize, and I'm like, wait, I armor pressed, it only hit me for 80. So he was 10 damage short on the knockout, and then I was able to get my fighting energy into Guzma, the other Zork, for game. So I'm not sure if he would have crossing cut me, it might have been a closer game. I think I still would have been able to take it, but it was one of those, like, you don't think of a Sudowoodo armor pressing you, so I may have got lucky there, but was able to take that game. And then we were on like our second turn of the 3rd game when time was called, so we're just like, oh, tie, which works out for me, because I'm sitting there like, ooh, don't get down paired or up paired, because the up pairs would want to play it out. Going into round 9, I get the even pair right at 602 and I was able to ID Zach Patterson. He was playing Sylveon, which I think with the Rangaroo is a really good matchup for me. being able to get back all my energies. Like, they have to take out the Oranguru, but I can just get it back, and if they're taking my Pokemon out, I can counter energy them. So there's really nothing Sylveon can do, I think, with me playing Oranguru like that, and the one fighting energy on Sudowoodo is really nice. And then, so yeah, I did round into cut at 603, so I was super pumped. We, second straight regional I've cut in a row, or day 2'd, and was feeling really good about the deck. I almost didn't even play the deck on the day, but really glad my brother talked me into it. So day 1 went just about as smooth as it could. Got lucky where I needed to get lucky, and played well where I needed to play well. I really can't remember any big misplays I was making throughout the day, so that's usually a good sign, especially with the Zoroark. There's so many little trade things that you have to do right throughout the day. So by the time we get back to the hotel and settled down, it's like, I feel like I fell asleep at like 2 and had to wake up at like 6 the next day to go to the venue. So that was always fun, you know. Playing on little sleep is what I'm used to. So round 10, played against Peter Kika, playing Kika Bulu, you know, Bulu without any Bridget, and this went about as well as a game could have for me. He whiffed the Vikavolt, and I just was like, okay, let's flying flip a couple times to set up some knockouts, so I don't need weird, like, Kukui choice band knockouts onto the, like, the late game prizes. And he sits there draw passing, or draw horn attacking, essentially. And I end up flying flipping 6 times, taking out 2 Grubbins and an Oranguru at, like, by the time. And as soon as I brought up a, like, Zoroark to attack, he moved on to the next game. And the next game went just about as well for him, but he took a couple knockouts, but I was always able to watch and learn, and the fighting energy became important again. So I was able to get the Sudowoodo down with an energy on it, so then he has to Guzma knock it out, which lets me just attack into the Bulu, essentially. There's at one point he horn attacked my Sudowoodo, and I attached the fighting energy and horn attacked it back, so even if he knocked me out, I would be able to return knockout and all that fun stuff. I would love to see Bulu just about every round if I could with Zoroark counters, just because of the watch and learn, and the Zoroark numbers just add up so well. So then we have round 11, where I played Athavan, who was playing Glaceon Zoroark, a good friend of ours, and he ended up making cut. I think he lost in top 8 to Alex Schmansky, so he was playing Glaceon Zoroark, and Glaceon Zoroark has just about a great matchup against anything Zoroark, and game 1 was super close. Like, he hits me and I find an energy and attack him with a Lele, which puts him into, like, ooh, you can't get that energy on, or you knock it, or I would knock out his Glaceon, so he E-hammers and ends me, and I can't find anything. I end up having 2 double colorless prize, and it came down to that, and he took game 1, and then game 2, I think I won in 3 turns. He couldn't get set up properly, and I was just hitting him with Zoroark right off the bat. So he scooped that one up pretty quickly, knowing that he wanted to win that 3rd game. And the 3rd game was also insanely close. I think it came down to me whiffing an energy on like 3 different turns, where if I would have had on any one of them, I could have possibly taken game. Pretty sure it went down to like 1 prize or 2 prize. So really close game, but he took it. So he took the series, and I was 1-1 on the day, and then I played against Carl's Satavi, playing Zoroark Guardy, and this was probably one of the, like, worst drawn series of my life. I love, you know, playing Zoroark counters. Game 1, I prized 3 Zoruas, which, you know, I guess it's going to happen throughout the tournament, but it feels really bad when I start Bridget and have to play Bridget, and have to bridge it for 2 Cocos and a Zorua. So at that point they know something's up, and he took out the Zorua right away, and I'm like, okay, this is cool, I'll move on to the next game. In the next game I just couldn't. It was a lot closer, but it was weird, like I could only get up 2 Zoroarks, and I had to puzzle early on, and he knocked me out with Gallade, and I knew the Glade would just be doing so much more damage, so I had to I watched and learned Gallade's attack while I had to puzzle for the Kukui to one-shot it. So that left me with almost no resources left, and then he brings up the monkey and his Oranguru and starts milling me, essentially, like just putting in his healing and E-hammers and puzzles back, so he ends up milling me, essentially, and taking the game. So 1-2 on the day. I'm trying not to repeat my whole 1-5 in St. Louis. And next round I played against K Xiao. I'm just going to say that he told me to call him K. So he was playing Zork Weavile, and this was another insanely close game. We had like a lot of back and forth. He won the first game, I won the second game, and the third game came right down to it. And then time's called, and we go back and forth a little bit, and then I know if I can hit my max potion, he can't take game. I only have 2 abilities on the field, so I dig for my max potion, and I miss it, and then I evolve into a third Zork, which forces him to get Weavile Energy Guzma, and I trade, and I whiff max potion, and I pass it over to him, and he had what he need to win on turn 3, so congrats to him. He ended up taking that series. Really close, fun series. That was, I think, game 1 on that one, I had 3 Zorks prized. So it was like, the prizes today were killing me. But that's how Pokemon is. You have to fight through the battle that is your own prizes. Then round 14, played against Eddie North, playing Zoroark Magnezone. So really cool deck, the Zoroark Magnezone Dustmane. So you use the Zoroarks to help set up your Magnezone, which helps set up your Dustmane. It can clunk up sometimes, but game 1 he just steamrolls me. He gets turn 2 Magnezone knockout on his Zoroark. I like watch and learn, and he takes another knockout on his Zoroark, but has another Dustmane already ready to go on the bench, so just needs to trade into a Guzma and he gets it. So takes a 3 straight knockouts, taking game 1 easily off me. And then game 2, I think I just set up the flying flip enough where I just could knock out everything with the Zoroark. So game 2 went my favor, and then game 3 was real close, and then there was there was a late game. He needs to take care of my Sudowoodo, or else I knew I had fighting energy in deck that I could be able to watch and learn. And he hits me with the Lele, where at even prizes, hits me with the Lele for 20 energy short, or 10 damage short, because he thought the counter energy count as 2. Just, it was a little slip up, and just was 10 shy of the knockout, and that ended up, I don't think that ended up mattering, because it, my turn, I traded a couple times, and I actually couldn't find anything to get my Sudowoodo out active. And then it went over to him, and he energy drived to knock it out, and then I brought up Zoroark and traded a couple times into Kukui, Choice Band, and the full bench to hit the Lele for 170. So I think looking back, if he just wasn't attacking me with the Lele, even if it was with the Zoroark or a Dustmane, Dustmane you'd have to discard everything. So probably should have just kept attacking me with Zoroark, but I'm not really sure how that game state played out. So I ended up winning like right before time was called, or right at time. So going 2-3 on the day. So at this point I'm like, what's it, 8-3-3, and we weren't sure if the 9 or was it 30 match points would be able to make top 16. So the last round, round 15, played against Chris Sakala, yeah, playing Zoroark Lycanroc, and game 1 he just gets this god set up with 4 Zoroarks on the field, but like he had 3 out turn 2, 4 out turn 3, and I just can't get anything out, and he just steamrolls me, just straight up steamrolls me. And then game 2, I real close back and forth. I got a couple flying flips off, which is like the moral of this deck. It's like you want to be able to knock out everything with Zoroark, so you get the 2 flying flips in to set up everything you need, and then you just use your counter energies as your backup. So then I flying flip, get all my Zoroark set up, take out the Lycanrocs, like right after he knocks something out, I Guzma up the Lycanroc with, and hit him with the Shaman, the Rally back, and then I barely take that game. It was real close. I think it came down to, like, I needed to draw into, like, a counter energy on my last turn with, like, 1 Zoroark set up, but ended up barely taking that one. And then game 3, we both know, like, okay, 27 points is going to get us nothing. 30 points might be able to get us something, so we're not going to tie. We'll play as fast as we can. And we start just going super fast back and forth. And I could only get one. Oh no, he turned one parallel cities me, and I can't afford to Lele for the Bridget for 2 Zoruas. And he ends up getting a strong energy and tackling my Zorua for knockout. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Get another Zorua down, all I could get down, and then he Lycan Rocks it up and tackles that, and then it was, he just had complete control of the game the whole game long. So he ends up winning, and in the grand scheme of things, it didn't really matter because no 30 points made top 16, so we were both safe already from the not getting 33rd or 34th, so, yep, day 2 didn't go my way again, went 2-4, better than 1-5, I guess, and, you know, got top 32, so that was awesome. But this deck, it ran incredibly smooth just about the whole tournament. There was that, like, couple series where, you know, bad prizes, but that's going to happen with anything. And, yeah, I think that will do it. This has probably gone on for way too long again, but, yep, I'll post that list up early on. And remember, like, comment, share, subscribe. Next regional for me is Toronto Regionals, which is in the same format, plus Lucario. But I'm not sure how much I'm actually going to be testing for it. Now I'm at 324 points out of 400. So basically I need 3 more top 8 cups because I only have 1 finish this quarter too. So I only need 3 more top 8 cups to get my invite. So I'm pretty much like feel good about it being secured. So I know we want to be testing Forbidden Light. That'll be the next format that we are really looking forward to. And Toronto I'll stick to playing this, or probably Bulu. Bulu might be fun. Bulu's the pub stomp deck that can just win anything. So yeah, I'll be having a lot of videos out. I'm going to go over, I think next week I'll go over top 32 decks, or top 34 decks, I guess. And we'll see how it goes. But shout out to my sponsor, G&G Cards. They're helping me get to all these tournaments, and they're great. Check them out. Facebook link will be down below. And yep, that's about it. So, later, everyone.